Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros. We're just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we're going to do.
Jaden, today we are discussing the hallowed rewards for video games that have been going on since 2014, which is about 7 years now.
I mean, I don't think I think it just is.
Yeah, when I looked at that, I was kind of shocked. I thought the Game Awards have been going on for like 20 years.
No, I know. I honestly didn't realize it had been going on since 2014. I thought it had been less time because that was always something at least I remember, as we were kind of getting into video games more, is there is not really a big kind of recognized huge like video game award show like there is for movies with like the Oscars and like TV with like Emmys, the Grammys. Like video games never had that, and that's why. And I think that's why I was initially excited when the Game Awards started, and I think one of the reasons that the Game Awards did start initially by Jeff Keighley is like he wanted gaming to have that big, overarching like main quote unquote award show, and that's what this is.
You're 100% correct. I mean, it's literally called the Game Awards. And when you're talking about Game Awards and you see rewards on the front of a game's case or something like that, most of the time it's from the Game Awards. And there are, of course, other awards, but I feel like really people in the gaming community don't even take them seriously at all.
The other awards or the Game Awards?
The other awards. I
Um,
mean, like, I mean, the Golden Joysticks for one, like they're cool and all, but it just doesn't have the same effect.
yeah, I agree. And also, I mean, like any game that comes out that is like a good game wins a Game of the Year award from some award show. You have games that it's not really a thing they do anymore. But if you remember, like back 10 years ago, maybe a little over 10 years ago, like some games would have a Game of the Year edition, which is basically just like the Ultimate Edition where it comes with all the DLC and stuff. But that would always be a thing. Was it's the Oblivion Game of the Year edition, and it would talk about like, oh yeah, this is won over 40 Game of the Year awards, and you're just like, well, 40? Like how many? Like what are they just including like anyone that mentions it?
Right. But, the Game Awards have kind of been, they've kind of named the Game of the Year since 2014. I mean, everybody just goes by what they say.
Yeah, at least yeah, I know at least in the games industry itself, it's very much the Grammys, the Oscars of the video game awards.
It really is. So, the Game Awards are also a hot topic for game announcements and trailers. And we will be discussing those as well as the actual awards.
I mean, the trailers are, by Jeff Keighley's own admission himself, that's the reason everyone watches the Game Awards. Most people don't watch them for the awards themselves.
I mean, factual, the Game Awards has become the better E3 than E3 now.
That is true. I mean, there are so many great games over the years that were announced. I mean, that's how we first heard about the Game Awards was, just like one day after the awards had taken place, just like on YouTube, all these uploads of, oh, this announcement at the Game Awards, this announcement at the Game Awards.
Right. I just wanted to mention a couple games of the year from the past.
Yeah, the past.
God of War for 2018. I believe Sekiro for 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda Breath of the Wild for 17.
Yep. Last of Us Part 2 for 2020.
And we'll get to 2021. 2021, I had a lot of friends say that they thought the 2021 lineup was very weak in terms of game of the year. And I also was one of those people who felt like 2021, we had a lot of games delay and it felt like not really a lot of great AAA experiences came out this year.
Uh,
But looking back, there were a lot.
no, I mean, I think I can see other people saying that. I do semi agree with it. Like like there are good games this year, like several really good games, but I don't think there's nearly as many heavy hitters as there usually are. I mean, if you look at last year when The Last of Us Part 2 won, like there was The Last of Us Part 2, there was Ghost of Tsushima, there was all these huge games. And I think even like God of War was up against Red Dead 2, like all these games that are just insane. You don't even realize because you don't think about it that came out in the same year until you see them like against each other at the Game Awards, and you're just like, well, damn, I don't know which one of these is gonna win. I mean, they both should be Game of the Year, you know?
I know the Game of the Year award is always asking the tough questions like Deathloop or Ratchet and Clank.
Like I think this year is definitely like I guess you could say this year is like the transition year between the PS4, Xbox One generation of consoles and the Xbox Series X, PS5 generation of consoles. And I think that's one thing that led to so many delays is all of the different like all the delays and the kind of quote unquote weaker lineup of games this year is trying to finish that transition between what is now current gen PS5 and then previous gen PS4.
Right. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the categories.
Mm-hmm.
I did not put up every single category. I believe the Game Awards have a lot of categories that aren't for every gamer, and I love that. But they're categories that aren't specifically interesting to me, like mostly the esports stuff. And I feel like I watch esports, but it's mostly fighting games, and they never really get represented
Yeah,
in esports categories.
I don't really watch esports at all, and yeah, but I can understand you not including those.
Right. So anyway, without further ado, why don't we get into it? So I was thinking we'll just take turns introducing
Okay.
the award and then
Okay.
listing the games, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So, first off, we have the award for most anticipated game, and this one actually shocked me. This one shocked me to my core. So this award is given for recognizing an announced game that has illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. And I guess after reading that description of the award, the winner makes more sense in terms of like mechanics that I've seen so far in the trailers. But I'm just going to list the games here. So we have Elden Ring from Software, God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Breath of the Wild. Does it not have an official title?
I think it's just Breath of the
Called that
Wild 2
everywhere.
or something.
And then, of course, Starfield. I think it's been on the most anticipated games list, like the longest game on it. But the winner is Elden Ring. And like I said, I was kind of shocked to see this because I have been keeping up with Elden Ring, and to me, it just looks like Dark Souls with new mechanics. I haven't played it, so I don't know if it feels any different, but that's what it looks like to me.
Well, I think it is From Software, which I mean that's their style of game. Even
Yeah, but
uh
Sekiro wasn't like that at all, and it
yeah
was my favorite game by them.
yeah. But I know Elden Ring was meant to be more of a return to the classic Dark Souls, not entirely, but at least more so than obviously Sekiro was. Also, it's open world. It's the first open world From Software game, uh, and it's
That's not true. Sekiro was open world.
oh, where did I thought I heard that
Also, they're all
somewhere.
open world.
No, I think
Bloodborne
like
is open world.
no, I think they're like semi-open world.
Oh, because you have to like unlock areas.
No, it's like like they're open world the same way that like God of War 2018 is open world, or like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, where like in the areas you are in, you can completely explore, but your kind of transition between those areas is, locked a bit.
Right, so the map is just going to be one completely connected map, like GTA or
Yeah,
Red
this is
Dead.
like straight up open world, which I don't know. I know, like, remember the beta came out that you didn't get in, and
Yeah, I think I found out that you have to be famous to get into this.
Gotcha. Yeah. We'll get there. And a lot of people had like very positive things to say about the beta. People were sort of concerned about the open world because the beta obviously was only a small section of it, and people are concerned with maybe how interesting they can keep an entire open world because supposedly the map is supposed to be rather large. I'm not surprised this won because of the simple fact that it is a From Software game, and From Software is one of the most respected developers in games right now, maybe of all time.
No, I completely agree. I think
Yeah,
I would be happy with Elden Ring, Ragnarok, or Horizon Forbidden West here.
yeah, like
I
it
was
wasn't.
just shocked that Elden Ring pulled above Ragnarok. I feel like the hype for Ragnarok is unreal.
Yeah, I expected it to be Ragnarok as well, but it does not surprise me that Elden Ring won. But
I mean, it's coming out soon. It has a release date, and so does Horizon Forbidden West. So, they both have that up on God of War.
yeah, that is true. So then move on to best multiplayer game for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of genre or platform. Your nominations were Back for Blood, It Takes Two, Knockout City, Monster Hunter Rise, New World, and Valheim. The winner, It Takes Two. I was very surprised with this one.
I wasn't shocked at all. I mean,
Well, here's the thing: like, It Takes Two is only two players, right?
yeah,
Like, even online, it's only two players, which I was like, it's like
multiplayer to you is not co-op. Like they're two different.
no, it can be co-op, but still, like, I would have expected a group game. Like Monster Hunter Rise is cooperative, but like you can play with, like multiple people. It's not just you and one other person. It can be, like up to four, maybe more people. And then you have, Back for Blood, obviously kind of same thing, and competitive as well. Like I just like it's weird to me for It Takes Two to be in this category because it is not a game I would think of as a multiplayer game because of the fact that it is only two. Like, yes, does fit under the definition of multiplayer, but I would not put this in the same category as all the others.
Well, I'll say this as having actually played It Takes Two. It has multiplayer mechanics that I've not seen in any other co-op game, and it comes from a company that has a history of making excellent co-op games.
Yes.
And it just blew away every category it was in. It's a really good quality game in my opinion. The story is a little basic. It's lackluster in my opinion, and they drag it on pretty long. Like Paige and I agreed, we felt like we were getting close to the end, and they introduced a whole nother section of game where we had to go get 4 pieces of paper. So it's 4 different sections of game. So I was like, damn, padding is unnecessary here,
Interesting.
or write it better. But I don't know if you know the story, but basically a little girl's parents are getting divorced and they're fighting, and she wishes that they could solve their problems and fall in love again. And so magically they are turned into like they are controlling her dolls that she made, and they're trying to figure out how to become uh human again. It's super weird.
I knew you were playing as like two dolls. I guess I didn't realize there was such a serious background to it, but also the company that made it, I apologize so hard. I do not know the name of that company.
Let me
I
just look it up.
Yeah,
Respectful.
let me look it up. Yeah.
I put best fighting game here just because I wanted to talk about it.
No, I know. Haze Light Studios, which obviously I have played Haze Light Studios games before, and they are known for one, their cooperative experiences, and two, their serious story. So it doesn't surprise me that playing as dolls actually has a bit of a more serious background there.
Yeah, true. I was with you though. I did not expect there to be a story to it at all. I never watched any, the only footage I saw of it was actual gameplay and
What, It
not,
Takes Two?
yeah.
I mean, I expected there to be a story. I just didn't expect it to be as serious as the girl's parents getting divorced and they inhabit the dulls. But once again, Hazelight, with their previous games, Brothers, Tale of Two Sons, and A Way Out, their stories are usually a pretty big focus and pretty serious stories as well.
True. So next up, there's best fighting game. That's for the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. So these games are Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicles, Guilty Gear Strive, Melty Blood, Type Lumina, Nickelodeon, All-Star Brawl, and Virtua Fighter 5, Ultimate Showdown.
So
Out of these
Noah,
games, the only one I have played is Demon Slayer. And I think it's actually a really excellent fighting game for people who don't play fighting games. It's simple and really easy to pick up. But I'm not surprised. Guilty Gear Strive is the winner. It's the biggest name and highest mechanic fighting game that came out this year. And I believe it was made by, I want to say Arc System Works, which is the developers who made Fighters.
Dragon Ball Z Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've made a lot of fighting games over the years. I mean, I don't know. That's a stupid thing for me to say, of course, because that's what they're known for.
Yeah.
Like they've made a few games I've heard of. I've never personally played any of their games, and really, I'll be honest, I have nothing to say on this. Noah, you are the Super Gamer Bros resident fighting game expert, so I really just defer to you with all comments on this.
That's fair. I wouldn't have been surprised if Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl won. I know it is pretty widely popular right now. But anyway, you can go ahead and take the next one.
All right. So next one, best RPG. I do love a good RPG for best game design with rich player character customization and progression, including massive multiplayer experiences. So you had Cyberpunk 2077, Monster Hunter Rise, Scarlet Nexus, Shin Megami Tensei 5, and Tales of Arise. Tales of Arise being the winner. This surprised me. I thought Shin Megami Tensei would win. Shin Megami Tensei Atlas, a very, very well-respected RPG developer, maker of many, many, many overall popular and really good RPG games.
Are those JRPGs?
Shin Megami?
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Tales of Arise, I honestly I have heard of, and I have come so close to buying it just because, one, it's a PS5 game that I could add to my PS5 game collection. People keep talking about it. Like, it doesn't surprise me entirely. Like, I thought Shin Megami Tensei would get it, but again, I have just seen so many videos, so many people talking about Tales of Arise that I was like, yeah, it's just like all over. People were talking about it, so I guess it's good. I really, seeing it win RPG game of the year, I'll probably end up buying it now to play it because, man, people really, really like it.
That's true, and that's another factor that the Game Awards provide, where it's like the winners are they won for a reason, so they must be good games and they must be worth trying.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that this is the only category that Cyberpunk was up for. No, there was one more. I think sound music.
That doesn't surprise me. I think Cyberpunk, obviously with its very bad launch, I think really hurt it in aspects of winning anything.
That's true, but I've been playing it and I'm really enjoying it.
I mean, people who have been able to play it and work have said it's a really, really good game, but I think in comparison to the Witcher series, it's a bit of a step back for CD Projekt Red.
I'd agree with that. So next up, we have best action adventure game. For the best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So the nominees are Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Metroid Dread, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village, and Psychonauts 2. And the winner is Metroid Dread. I'm kind of surprised by this, kind of not. It's always surprising when an exclusive wins an award just because it hits a small
yeah, but the people that decide the game awards are like industry people and like reviewers and stuff, and they usually play most of the games anyway because it's their job to, you know.
Right. I was gonna say, knowing Metroid's history though, it Metroid is like the game known for combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the first. Yeah,
Exactly. And whenever somebody copies that, they're like, oh, it's a Metroidvania inspired action
yeah,
adventure game, you know. So of course, I'm not surprised that Metroid is gonna win this category.
yeah. I think, obviously the personal bias in me wanted a Ratchet and Clank to win it, but like you said, I'm not surprised Metroid won it.
Yeah, I mean, I've played out of those games, I've played Ratchet and Clank and Resident Evil, and both of them were great games. Ratchet and Clank had great traversal, but not much puzzle solving. And then Resident Evil had the opposite problem.
For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat, you had Back for Blood, Chivalry 2, Deathloop, Far Cry 6, and Returnal. The winner being Returnal. This does not surprise me. It's also funny, when I was reading this document yesterday, seeing Returnal 1, it is insane to me how many games recently have been focused on time and time loops, because that's what Returnal, at least as far as I've been able to tell, is kind of similar to Deathloop of like you start the game with nothing and you're in, I think it's called a loop, it might be called something else, and you basically go, you collect gear, you try to get to the, you get as far as possible, whatever, blah blah blah, and when you die you reset back to the beginning with nothing and you have to like go again. And it might be, I think there's like some random procedurally generated aspect of it, but I honestly don't know. I think it is a PS5 exclusive, Returnal, but it was one of the first games to come out after the PS5 came out, and once again, it's one of those games that everywhere I looked, people were talking about it.
I saw a lot of yeah, I saw a lot of marketing for Returnal, but I was under the impression that it uh sold poorly financially.
I don't know. Like I could find it believable because it was a new IP and stuff, and yeah, those are more likely, obviously, to not sell well. But also, like, it was the first PS5 exclusive released that wasn't like a launch title, and for a while there, it was really one of the only like straight PS5 games. I saw like a ton of people talking about it.
I
I read
looked it
like
up, and
articles and
according
stuff.
to the company and Sony, it sold well. At the end of 2020, it sold 4 million copies, and the company House Marquee was acquired by Sony. And
Yeah,
Sony considers it a quote unquote mega hit.
yeah. Well, I think 4 million copies on a new console is pretty good.
That is pretty good. And this is another category where Returnal winning makes me want to buy Returnal.
Yeah, same. I remember reading about it and kind of how it worked at first, and not wanting to play it because it's also, I believe people were talking about how it was pretty hard. But either way, I'm not surprised it won. I think, I mean, my personal love, I would have given it to Deathloop, having played Deathloop. But no, you played Chivalry 2 a bit. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, the combat for Chivalry 2 is amazing. It's not as in depth as For Honor, which I think is what makes it better because it's easier. You know, blocking is one button, there's no directional inputs. Countering is very easy. I mean, once you understand the combat system, you can fight an entire group of people by yourself and still win. I don't know if you've ever seen gameplay of it or anything, but uh there's problems, like it's a lower quality game in terms of like UI and stuff like that, but I know the developers are small, and it's a PC game first,
Yeah,
so I'm not surprised that it didn't win.
yeah, okay. So, no,
Oh, right. So yeah, I'll take this one. Best VR AR game. For the best game experience playable in virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. Hitman 3, I Expect You to Die 2, Lone Echo 2, Resident Evil 4, and Sniper Elite VR. Resident Evil 4 won. I feel like that should be obvious. Resident Evil 4 is easily the most beloved game in the franchise, and the fact that it was turned into a VR game was amazing. I saw gameplay of it, and it looks so fun to play because it takes out the worst part of the game, which is the janky mechanics.
Mm.
But I want to
Um,
get a VR2 when it comes out and play this.
um, I'll be honest. In my personal opinion, when it comes to the Game Awards, I hate remakes winning awards, being nominated for awards. This applies obviously to Resident Evil 4. This applies to Sniper Elite VR. This applies to, I think last year, like Final Fantasy VII remake was up for Game of the Year. I hate that. I don't like. I don't think that they should be eligible for that because it's like I feel like it's a bad year for games if the winner of like Game of the Year is just a remake of a game that came out 20 years ago. Speaking of Resident Evil 7, it didn't win, but I'm saying like in the case it had won, I would not have been
Final
happy about
Fantasy
it.
7.
Yeah. Oh, I said Resident Evil 7, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I'm just like I feel like they shouldn't be
That
up for
being
those
said,
categories. I
it's a
feel like
completely different game from the original.
I understand that, but I think overall it has that, like nostalgia factor for a lot of people and just the fact that it already existed. I feel like there should be a category for best remake, because that is not a category. And especially, remakes are decently popular. They could like I'd say you have enough remakes come out every year that you could have a category like that. But yeah, like I hate when remakes do that because, for example, with Resident Evil 4, you're taking an already amazing game that probably, if the Game Awards was around that year, would have won Game of the Year, and even like probably won many people's Game of the Year when it did come out, and then putting it boom against games today. Um, that it's like to me it's like it's not fair, like it's not fair to compare to like have I Expect You to Die 2 and Lone Echo 2 like compete against Resident Evil 4. Like that's just not fair, man. And like I feel bad for those guys of it's like it's a monumental task to ask any kind of game to compete against Resident Evil 4, especially a game from like a smaller studio. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. Let me get off my soapbox here and
Yeah, I agree with you. Um, I that old games shouldn't beat out new games that are completely original. However, the quality of the VR adaptation and the game itself is really what does it for me.
okay. I mean, I get what you're saying. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, so now, best indie game for outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system. You had 12 Minutes, Death's Door, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Inscription, and Loop Hero. Winner Kena Bridge of Spirits. Not surprised with this one. There were only 2 games in this category I had heard of, which obviously me not hearing of a game does not really affect whether or not it should win. But just the fact that I had heard of Kena Bridge of Spirits, and once again, it just seemed like all over the place. I was not surprised it won. And even you and I, before the Game Awards, going back and forth really on we were gonna buy this game. We just for some reason never bought it until like a week or so ago. Finally, you bought it.
Yeah, I finished Resident Evil 8 and I really wanted to play Kena. I had seen gameplay of it, and all I knew about it was the combat mechanics looked really fun, and they are. But the story is interesting. It's about the spirit world.
And that checks out. Yeah, I think it's cool. Not much else to say because, like I said, I'd only even heard of Kena in 12 minutes. I did not expect 12 minutes. From what I had heard of 12 minutes and the kind of weird twist there, I did not expect it to win for that.
Kena?
No, 12 minutes.
Oh yeah, no. So anyway, next up is best performance awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion, and performance capture. So we have Erica Mori from Life is Strange, Giancarlo Esposito from Far Cry 6, Jason E. Kelly from Deathloop, Maggie Robertson from Resident Evil Village, and Ozioma Akaga from Deathloop. Oh, so the winner was Maggie Robertson from Resident Evil Village. She played Lady Dimitrescu, who was the really tall lady from the meme.
That's a good way to describe her. Yeah.
She was excellently voice acted, but she was sparsely in the game. She's the first person you take down. So, I mean, her performance was amazing. Everybody on this list did a wonderful job and has a stake in the running. But personally, I thought Ozioma Akaga from Deathloop was going to win. I thought her performance was amazing. It completely made the game for me. She was Juliana. Yeah, I played a lot of games. This year I played most of the game of the year, or yeah, the games that were up for game of the year. And to me, Deathloop was just the best. It was the one that,
And we can talk about
pulled
that in
me
game
in
of
the
the year.
most. Oh God. Oh God. But anyway, yeah, so I thought Akaga should have won. And I was disappointed, but I'm still happy because I thought Maggie Robertson did a good job also.
I personally, I mean, I agree with you. I think it should have gone to Jason E. Kelly or Ozayama Akaga. I think both of their performances really, really good in Deathloop. I I have not played Resident Evil Village. I have seen gameplay. I have seen cutscenes with Lady Dimitrescu, and like it was fine. I did not listen to that performance and think, man, this is the best performance of the year. Like I never got that vibe from it.
She
And
was terrifying.
yeah. And honestly, I did not want Giancarlo Esposito to win. Uh, and Erica Mori, I haven't played Life is Strange. I assume it's Life is Strange True Colors, which you did not specify. Um, but I can't comment on hers. I did not play the game.
Yeah. Anywho, next up is best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. So, so these are Deathloop, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Psychonauts 2, and The Artful Escape. And so Deathloop was the winner.
I think very well deserved.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved the artistic approach to Deathloop. I thought
100%.
the designs were great. Like the actual like world looked very nice. I loved how
Yes,
they
I was
did
gonna
it.
say from the menu to the world.
Oh yeah, like even like I loved little animated cutscenes whenever you would make like a story progression that Colt would narrate. Like very very well done artistically.
Short, sweet, gave a lot of information. That's how you should do a cutscene.
Yeah, it was very like I love the art of Psychonauts. I once again personal bias Ratchet and Clank, but especially after playing Deathloop, I think it should have won this award, and it did. So I have nothing more to comment on that one.
Yeah, to me, it just had the most style.
Yeah, very stylish. So then moving on, best narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Life is Strange: True Colors, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Psychonauts 2. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy was the winner. I don't like that.
I think that just means that the story was amazing, which is what the only positive people have to say about the game. We both know that it's been widely popular since it came out. People
That
have
is
been
true.
talking about it and playing it a lot.
Mhm.
But I have personally played it, and the gameplay is some of the worst I've ever played. It's worse than Marvel's Avengers, which I notoriously hated.
Yes, very
And
notorious.
it is notorious. And if you don't know, you know now. This to me makes me want to try Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy on the see if there's a brain dead difficulty where I can just literally not have to play any gameplay and just go through the story as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like an easy difficulty. Most games have that.
Because I was shocked to see this win over the others.
Yeah, I was too. Like once again, I thought Deathloop or It Takes Two was going to take that one. So anyway, moving on. Best game direction award for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. You had Deathloop, It Takes Two, Returnal, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Deathloop, the winner here. Once again, no surprise to me. The game it was very, very good.
True. I
Yeah.
mean, for me, here's another thing I'm gonna say about Deathloop real quick. Is for me, it's the best game from Arcane in terms of how interesting the world itself is. Like in Dishonored, I never really read anything and I never really learned about the politics in the world, even though they do give you a lot of information about it, just because I never really found it that interesting when I was actually playing the game. But in Deathloop, like that was my favorite part, to get new information and be like, oh wow, so this is why that happens, or this is where this came from.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This is another one I don't have much to say on. I think Deathloop very much deserved this win. I mean, I think any game in best game direction could have won, and I would not have been surprised. I think all of them were very well directed from what I have seen. So yeah, no surprise there.
True. So do you want to do this one?
So then lastly, game of the year, recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. The winner being It Takes Two. I was very surprised that It Takes Two won, but I wasn't like upset about it, you know?
Yeah, I've heard a couple of friends that were upset about it, and I was like, I don't understand, it's a great game. You know, I've played every game on this list except for Psychonauts 2 and Metroid Dread, and I think any of them could have won. They're all great games.
Yeah, I think
Personally though, we've talked about it the whole episode, and I was rooting for Deathloop.
Yeah, I was curious to hear your opinion because I have only played Deathloop, and I knew you had played It Takes Two, Resident Evil, and Ratchet and Clank. Like I very much from playing Deathloop think it could have won. And once again, personal bias. I think Ratchet and Clank, Ratchet and Clank did not win a single award they were nominated for, which upset me because I love Ratchet and Clank. But that
It's
aside,
niche.
yeah, but that aside, I think man, they're like I like it. Looking at this list, I very much see why people say this is a weak year because I would not expect to find like a Metroid game, a Psychonauts game, and a Ratchet and Clank game in a Game of the Year conversation. Uh,
That's pretty fair.
or even It Takes Two, like because It Takes Two, is also like a smaller studio. But yeah, like I'm happy for It Takes Two for Hazelight. I think awesome for them. Their games, they this is their third game. All of their games have been very well received, very good. Um, so I'm glad that they're getting recognition for what they've done. But yeah, I think very like overall, I was not happy with the Game Awards last year, but I'm pretty like I think this was a good year for winners and stuff.
I agree. I was less happy about last year's results. But I think It Takes Two deserve Game of the Year just as much as any other game. Right, so obviously the meat and potatoes of the Game Awards are the announcements and the trailers, and there were a lot of them. They would have like 3 or 4 trailers in between awards.
Yeah, because I mean, like I
So,
said, that's the big thing.
so first of all, we have Star Wars Eclipse. It's coming from the creators of Detroit Become Human, Quantic Dream, and it is a new Star Wars game in collaboration with Lucasfilm Games set in the High Republic. It will feature multiple playable characters and a branching story. It's still in early development and probably won't be out for like 2 or 3 years,
Yeah, so this
maybe
is
longer.
interesting. This is interesting. Quantic Dream, obviously Detroit Become Human. Heavy Rain, obviously, probably I would say their biggest game. I'm I'm curious to see how a Star Wars game with their mechanics will work. Because their games aren't, usually very action heavy, which I feel like is potentially bad for a Star Wars game because, people when they play Star Wars games, they want to shoot things and lightsaber things.
Did you ever play Detroit Become Human?
I did not.
Okay, it was a fantastic game. It was in the style of like Heavy Rain and the Telltale series.
Yeah.
And it is it compensates for the action. You know, the story is written so well that there's still action, even if it's not directly interacted with the player. Like when
Yeah.
you play the Batman Telltale series, there's still a good amount of fighting and whatnot. Um, or the Wolf Among Us. But I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really cool multi-level Star Wars experience. I'm sure they'll have like a Sith or a Jedi, couple of regular people, maybe a rebel, who knows.
I get what you're saying.
Oh,
Um,
High Republic, there's no rebels.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just like with Batman and Wolf Among Us, I can see those. I mean, being more okay because Batman, there's always action in Batman comics, but also, a big part about him is being the detective, so you can have a game that is less combat focused, I think, and still be successful. And same goes with Wolf Among Us is based on the Fables comic series, and the Fables comic series, there's not a lot of action. Like the comics, actually, a lot of problems are solved by just talking and plotting and kind of subversiveness. There's not a lot of action in the comics themselves. But then Star Wars, I mean, look at every Star Wars game that has come out, like ever. They're all very action focused and action heavy. Um, so I am very curious to see how Star Wars Eclipse works out. Like I'm interested in it. I love the High Republic uh era in Star Wars, and I am very interested to see a game set in that era.
Do you know what era that is?
Wasn't that like the KOTOR era?
No, that's the Old Republic. The High Republic is the era after the extinction of the Sith where the Jedi are like thriving.
I thought those were the same era.
No, the Old Republic is where the Sith had an army like the Jedi. And
Okay,
then they were eventually
and then
all
High
killed
Republic.
by Darth Bane.
Yeah, yeah, I know that part. Okay, so then, okay, still, okay, then I
I
mistake that back.
don't know. This is, I think, the first actual, like, the High Republic is an era created by Disney. It's new, a new term for it. And not much has been done in that era, I think, because, there's no Sith activity.
Hmm.
So how interesting can it really get? So
Okay,
I'm
well that
excited to see what they do.
okay that does pique my interest more. Anyway, yeah, I'm interested in it. I will obviously play it when it comes out. I am still just like in terms of overall performance, a bit concerned about how well it will do being a what I would assume to be a non-action focused Star Wars game. Um anyway, next from Middle Earth Shadow of War and Shadow of Mordor developer Monolith Productions, a Wonder Woman. The short teaser showed a little about the game, aside from the dramatic close up of the leading lady herself. A very, very interested to see this game to see more of it and see it when it comes out. A Wonder Woman focused game.
I'm extremely excited. I pretty much knew about the rest of the games that got announced, through rumors and leaks and whatnot. But Wonder Woman from Monolith was a complete shock to me. I loved Shadow of War and Mordor. The combat, traversal, open world, story, quest, all of it is amazing. The writing, everything. And I'm extremely excited to see what they can do with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and I think there's so much they can do. Because Wonder Woman, is, I guess you could hypothetically say, like a Greek mythology hero. Um,
Yeah, she does
and
involve a lot with the Greek
yeah,
gods.
well, yeah, and also like just she's been around that long, so this is a game that can hypothetically be set in like any point of Earth's history. So I'm also very curious to see where they would set it, if they would do a modern day game, or if they would maybe kind of go like the movie way and do like a World War I, maybe World War II kind of game. I'm very interested to see what they're doing, what they'll do with it. A lot of opportunities for a cool game here. I'm really excited to see what they do.
Yeah, the problem with the announcement is, like it said, it's just a short clip of a picture, like Wonder Woman just moving a little bit while there's voiceover. So that tells us very little about where production is on this game. So I would assume it's at early stages and we
Yeah.
won't be seeing it until maybe 2023 or 4.
Yeah, I'd believe that. Yeah. Although I mean, also like Shadow of War came out years ago, right? Like that was
I
like
bought it
28.
on PC in like 2018.
Yeah. So I have to imagine like unless they took a vacate, like they haven't released anything since then, have they?
I don't think so. Other than DLC for Shadow of War.
Yeah. So I imagine that they've been working on this game for a bit already, which would hopefully make it sooner. Make it obviously come out sooner. Next, I'm very excited for Alan Wake 2. It has been 10 years since the last Alan Wake game came out, which was an action game. Alan Wake 2 will be Remedy's first survival horror game. So, Alan Wake, when it came out, I mean, not even when it came out, I was listening to a podcast that the episodes I was listening to were from, 2010, 2011, when Alan Wake came out, even though I was listening to them years later. Uh, and they were just nonstop talking about Alan Wake. Like all the four or five guys that were regularly on this podcast talked about it nonstop. Like they loved this game. Like I think they even had their own kind of little award show at the end of the year for like games and stuff. And Alan Wake was, I think, one of the games that won one of their awards. It was a long time ago that I listened to it, so I'd have to like go back. But once again, like these guys nonstop talked about it, and from that point on, I always knew what Alan Wake was. I had never played it because it was an Xbox exclusive, but I'd always wanted to. It was one of those games that I always wanted to play. And like just last year, ahead of this announcement, they released Alan Wake Remastered on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox, everything. And I bought it. I own it. It's right there in front of me. And I'm really excited to play through it. So the announcement of a sequel that, again, I hope will not just be an Xbox exclusive, I'm very excited for.
Yeah, it looks good. So yeah, next up is Forspoken. It had I mean, obviously it's been announced before, but it had a gameplay trailer with a release date, which is May 24th, 2022. If you haven't seen this game, you should look it up. It has a lot of really nice animations for elemental attacks, and traversal.
Yep. Was
And
this
yeah,
sorry, was this announced at a State of Play event?
I think so.
Yeah. I remember did not watch that event, and you actually were texting me about Deathloop, like, hey, watch this trailer for this game called Deathloop. And I was like, yeah, sure, buddy, I'll watch it. And then I was just on YouTube watching a different video, and the trailer for this game popped up as an ad, and I like watched the whole thing. Like it really hooked me. That kind of announcement trailer. So this one that I'm very excited for as well.
Did you put Cuphead here?
Yeah, I did. Noah, you made this document, and you told me, hey, you should look at the announcements because there were a lot. You did not include all of them because of how many, which there were a lot. I was surprised when I looked it up, but Cuphead, the delicious last course, I saw this. My God, this DLC has been like announced. This was announced years ago, and much like the original Cuphead game, people have been waiting years for it to come out. And I saw finally there's a release date, June 30th, 2022. Cuphead, one of my favorite games of all time. I loved it. I am super excited to get back into it with this DLC. Super excited there's actually a release date for it.
Yeah, I'm not excited. I'm not gonna play it.
Thank you. No, you talk about the next one.
All right, so next up is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This one was another surprise. It's from the creators of Friday the 13th, and it was revealed with a short teaser trailer. I assume it's gonna play pretty much identically, and I'm excited. I played Friday the 13th, and it was really fun. I think it's better than Dead by Daylight in terms of gameplay mechanics for that asymmetrical multiplayer. But that they had to shut the game down for licensing reasons, and hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Sorry, I didn't realize I had muted myself. I I have no interest in this personally. I didn't play Friday the 13th. I never wanted to play Friday the 13th. I watched people playing it, and it just did not seem like that great of a game to me. I mean, yeah, I just don't care. I'm sorry. I just do not care about this one.
You also don't like multiplayer.
That is correct. Yeah, doesn't help its case. But I'll tell you what I am excited about: Sonic Frontiers, baby. So
Woo.
Sega announced Sonic Frontiers, the first ever open zone inspired game in the franchise. It was first teased in May. The new game is expected out late 2022 for every console. I'm super excited for this. Huge, long running Sonic fan. You know, there hasn't been like a really good Sonic game since maybe Sonic Heroes, and it looks great. I'm excited. It is not set in the stupid Sonic Boom world that I hate, with their stupid character redesigns and their stupid awful games. I'm really excited for this one. Well,
Wow.
I guess I shouldn't say Sonic Heroes was the last good Sonic game, because Sonic Mania was really good as well. But you know, that was a 2D game. This is going back to the cool 3D era. I'm excited for it. I'm really excited, man.
I mean, if it's if it's an actually good Sonic game, then yeah, I'll definitely play it.
Cool.
Right. So those are all the announcements. The pretty much the news. There were also just like new trailers for games that were already announced that had no new information. And one of those is Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League had a gameplay trailer. And it actually looks like it's gonna be a really fast-paced game. Unlike the Arkham series. So I'm excited to see how they implement that into their storytelling method.
Yeah, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. I saw the announcement trailer, which, you know, Noah, you and I think we both have the same kind of philosophy when it comes to any sort of game trailers at all. I will watch game trailers until I'm interested in the game. And at that point, I stop watching things because I don't want to know anymore. I don't want any potential spoilers in story trailers or anything like that. So I will not watch this trailer, because the second I saw that announcement trailer for Suicide Squad, I was hooked and I was like, yeah, I'm getting it. But it's cool. Like, seeing anything, like anytime there's a new trailer for a game, especially like a gameplay trailer, I know it's getting closer to release. So it's always a good sign.
Yeah, true. I think that the 2022 slate might hold for Suicide Squad, and I still suspect a holiday release.
Cool.
Right. So, Senua Saga 2, Hellblade, also had another trailer featuring gameplay, and it was terrifying and weird and didn't make any sense. Very Hellblade.
Yeah, this sucks. It's an Xbox exclusive, so I'll have to like steal your Xbox to play it. We have not talked about it on the podcast, but we both very much enjoyed the first Hellblade. We'll probably talk about it eventually. Um, so yeah, it's cool. I did see a bit of this one. And like I said, I'm excited for it. Also
Did you
knowing,
see the monster?
no, I didn't watch that far into it.
Okay.
Also, kind of, I always group these two games together for some reason, but along with Senua's Saga 2, we also got a Plague's Tale Requiem trailer.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put that.
Yeah, I also forgot to put that.
But I forgot that because as soon as it started, I shut it down because I didn't want to see anything.
Yeah, I did not watch it. I just saw that it existed, and I'm here for it. You know, we did an episode on Plague's Tale Innocence, obviously a game we both enjoyed. So I'm really excited to see Requiem. Really excited to play that one.
Also Xbox exclusive.
What?
Um, Requiem is also Xbox
No, it's
exclusive.
not. We've had this conversation many times.
I thought it was.
We literally talked about it yesterday, Noah.
Ah,
Like, I looked it up. It's coming out on PS5 and PS4.
Oh damn.
Anyway, then of course they had an Elden Ring trailer. And again, I didn't watch it. I'm already sold on Elden Ring. I'm gonna get it.
I'm so surprised that you're sold on Elden Ring because it looks like a Dark Souls.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. Anyway, Noah, this one I added. Somerville. I had never heard of Somerville before, but did not say it was an announcement. Like in the article I read where it listed everything, it did not say it was an announcement trailer. It said that we had known about this game, but I think this is the first trailer released for it. It is being made by one of the co-founders of Playdead. which created Limbo and Inside. And then this guy left, co-founded another studio, and they're making Somerville. So obviously, this guy, I can't remember his name, has a pretty good track record. This game seems much more action focused than Limbo and Inside were, but I'm excited for it just knowing that his name is attached.
But what's the game like?
It's hard to explain. You'd have to watch the trailer, honestly. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm
But
trying
it's
to.
like an indie game.
Yeah, of course, it's an indie game. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, just I saw it was by Playdead co-founder. Uh, so I'm very interested in it because obviously Limbo, Inside, both very good games.
True.
Yeah, and yeah, that's pretty much everything we have of in terms of games we personally felt were interesting. We wanted to talk about in terms of trailers. Yeah, so just keep in mind these are not. This isn't even like half of the gameplay trailers and things that were shown. I think that we talked about, but the ones that Noah and I both thought were worth keeping an eye on. So
Yeah, all in all, great game awards.
yeah, I think so.
I was happy with the awards themselves and the announcements were
Um,
cool.
oh, we also talk about maybe notable non-announcements. No NetherRealm game.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yes, I will say that. I was one of the people who believed that NetherRealm was going to announce their next project. And I think that they planned on it because there was a lot of hype from them about an announcement. And I think Ed Boon came out and said that they just weren't ready to announce the game yet. And there have been rumors about them being tied up in licensing issues with WB selling their games division. And so we don't know what kind of problems and delays that could cause to NetherRealm Studios. So I don't really know when we're going to hear from them. Super depressing.
Yeah. But anyway, also just to close this out, we do not know at this point in time if this will be a podcast episode or just something that goes up on our YouTube channel. So wherever you're listening to this, rate and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Tell us if you like us talking about kind of award show announcements like this. You want us to do more of that? Go ahead, just like leave a comment, let us know. Because obviously not typically what we do. You can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for kind of updates on anything we do, episodes of the podcast, episodes, anything we upload on YouTube, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Super Gamer Bros, one word, to see we upload podcast episodes there as well. We upload anything there, and I don't know anything to add.
No, sounds good to me.
All right then. Yeah, we'll see you guys next game.
Bye.